Rainy morning in Copenhagen. Have you ever been so tired of life that even the rain feels heavier than your heart, and then a stranger changes everything? It's Copenhagen, early morning, and the rain is falling like it has no intention of stopping. The streets are quiet except for the sound of water splashing against cobblestones. Your jacket is barely keeping you dry, and the cold wind finds its way into every gap it can. You're on your way to grab coffee before work. Nothing unusual, nothing dramatic. Just another Danish morning where the weather seems determined to test your patience. But then you see her. She's sitting on a bench near the bus stop, hood pulled over her head, her hair damp from the rain. At first, you think she's just waiting for the bus, maybe lost in thought. But then you notice her hands clasped tightly in her lap and the unmistakable motion of her shoulders shaking. She's crying. And here's the thing, your brain instantly starts a little debate. Do I keep walking? Do I ask if she's okay? The rain is coming down harder, and part of you just wants to get to that warm coffee shop and escape the chill. But another part of you, the part that remembers the times you've been broken and no one noticed, can't quite look away. Science says we often ignore strangers in distress because our brains prioritize personal comfort over empathy when conditions are unpleasant, like, say, standing in the freezing rain. But there's also that small, inconvenient truth. Humans are wired for connection. Even in Denmark, where personal space is sacred, a scene like this stirs something deep in you. So you slow your steps, just enough to give yourself time to decide. The rain taps on your hood like an impatient drummer. The coffee shop is only 2 minutes away. But this moment, it feels heavier than the weather. The awkward pause you stop. Not completely, but enough for it to feel obvious. Your shoes make that awkward splash sound in the puddles, like they're announcing to the world that you're hesitating. You're close enough now to hear her sobs, muffled by the rain, but you still don't move toward her. It's funny, your brain is a master negotiator in moments like this. On one side, it whispers, "You'll just make it worse." She doesn't want a stranger hovering over her. Keep walking. On the other side, it reminds you of that one time, maybe 2 years ago, when you sat on your kitchen floor at 2 a.m., crying over something you couldn't even explain, and you would have given anything for someone to just notice. Your body is frozen, caught between the two arguments. You glance around. No one else is nearby. The city feels emptier than usual, as if the rain has cleared the streets just for this moment. There's an odd psychology to this kind of pause. Studies on the bystander effect show that people are less likely to help when there are others around because everyone assumes someone else will do it. But when it's just you, that excuse collapses. There's no someone else. There's only you and the decision you're about to make. You shift your weight from one foot to the other, rainwater trickling down the back of your neck. She hasn't looked up. Maybe she hasn't even noticed you. And maybe that's the problem or the invitation. You take a deep breath, and in that breath you realize, whether you walk away or step forward, this is one of those tiny choices that will stick with you. A stranger's dilemma, your mind drifts, uninvited, to memories you thought you'd filed away. That night when you sat on your narrow apartment balcony, staring at the rain sliding down the railing, feeling like every drop was just another reminder that you were alone. You didn't cry loudly. You didn't make a scene. But you still hoped anyone would notice. No one did. And maybe that's why your chest feels tight right now. Because what you're seeing isn't just a stranger in the rain. It's a mirror. Humans have this strange wiring. We tend to empathize more deeply with situations we've experienced ourselves. Psychologists call it empathic resonance. It's not just sympathy. It's like your brain opens an old drawer and pulls out a feeling you once lived through. That's what's happening to you. The cold dampness, the hollow in your stomach, the weight in your chest, your body remembers. Still, you hesitate. In Denmark, people don't usually invade each other's personal space, especially without a clear reason. The cultural script says, respect privacy, don't pry. But culture isn't a perfect rule book. It's a guideline. And sometimes moments like this ask you to break it. Your coffee can wait. The warmth you're craving? You might find it here, not in a cup. You glance at her again. Her fingers are trembling slightly, the rainwater dripping off her sleeve. You know you can't solve her life in 5 minutes. You know you might even make it awkward. But you also know something else. If you walk away, you'll spend the rest of the day replaying this moment, wondering what might have happened if you didn't. The dilemma isn't really help or not help. It's stay safe in your comfort zone or step into someone else's storm. First step forward, you inhale, slow and deliberate, like you're bracing for cold water before a swim. Your feet move before your brain has time to file an official complaint. Step 1. Step 2. Each splash in the puddles sounds louder than it should, as if the rain has decided to stop covering for you. Hi, you say, voice gentle but clear enough to be heard over the patter of raindrops. The word hangs there for a second, awkward and fragile, like a paper boat in a storm. She doesn't look up immediately. There's a small, almost imperceptible pause, the kind that makes you wonder if you've just crossed an invisible line. But then she lifts her head. Her eyes are red, her lashes clumped from rain and tears. You can't tell where the water ends and the sadness begins. Are you okay? You ask slowly. You choose each word carefully, the way you'd pick fragile cups from a high shelf. You speak in simple English, not because you think she's stupid, but because you're hoping the clarity will cut through the haze of her emotions. There's a beat of silence, filled only by the soft drumming of rain on the metal bench. She blinks, swallows, then shakes her head, a small, almost apologetic motion. Not really, she says, her voice thin, accented. It's strange how quickly fear turns into focus. That awkward energy in your chest. It shifts into a kind of quiet determination. Science calls this the empathy action loop. Once you connect emotionally, your brain starts problem solving searching for ways to reduce another person's distress. You don't have a magic sentence. You don't have an umbrella big enough for her pain. But you do have time, and in this moment, that feels like the most valuable thing you can offer. So you stay standing there, letting the rain soak into your jacket, not because you like being wet, but because you know this is the first step towards something neither of you expected when the morning began. The conversation begins. You take a small step closer, enough so your voice doesn't have to fight the rain so hard. Do you want to talk? You ask, the words slow, each one leaving your mouth like you're offering it on the palm of your hand. For a moment, she studies you, not in a suspicious way, more like she's checking if you mean it, if you're really here in the cold for her. Finally, she nods. A small, tentative nod. Her voice is shaky. I just moved here, she says, pausing between words. Everything feels hard. You nod, encouraging her. She continues, I thought Denmark would feel like a fresh start. But I'm lonely, very lonely. There's something about hearing pain wrapped in simple sentences that makes it hit harder. It's like her words are stripped of decoration, leaving nothing but the raw truth. You tell her, slowly, it's okay to feel that way. Moving to a new place is hard. It takes time. You keep your tone warm, the way you'd speak to a friend who's learning a new language because, in a way, she is. Psychologists say when people are distressed, slow and clear speech can lower their stress response. It's called prosody effect. Your tone becomes a kind of emotional anchor. Right now, you're not just talking. You're offering stability. The conversation flows in short exchanges. She tells you about missing her family, about struggling to understand the language, about how the rain feels endless here. You tell her you've lived through lonely seasons too, and that even the longest rain eventually stops. You notice her breathing is slower now. The tension in her shoulders has eased a little. It's subtle, but it's there, like the first faint light in the sky before sunrise, and you realize something. The conversation isn't about fixing her life. It's about making sure in this moment she doesn't feel invisible. A small comfort. You glance at the cafe across the street. The warm glow from its windows, the faint scent of coffee drifting out every time the door opens. You point toward it and ask, would you like to sit inside? It's warmer there. For a second, she hesitates, glancing at the puddles around her shoes. Then she nods. You both hurry across the street, dodging a splash from a passing bicycle. Inside, the heat wraps around you instantly, almost startling after the sharp chill outside. You order 2 hot drinks. She quietly says tea when you ask, and you find a small table near the window. Steam curls up from the cups, and the rain outside becomes a soft, muffled backdrop instead of an enemy. There's something about cafes in Denmark. They feel like little pockets of safety, places where time slows just enough to let you breathe. Here, words come easier. She tells you her name. You share yours. You talk about where she's from, the food she misses, and the strange little cultural habits she's noticed in Copenhagen. At one point, she laughs, a small, almost shy laugh, when you joke about how Danes can have an entire conversation about the weather and still not say goodbye properly. It's a quiet sound, but it changes the air between you. Science says warmth, both physical and emotional, can activate the same parts of the brain. Holding a warm drink can literally make people feel warmer toward others. Maybe that's why she seems more open now, her words flowing a little faster, her shoulders relaxing. You sip your coffee, nodding as she speaks, not because you have all the answers, but because you want her to feel heard. And for the first time since you saw her on that bench, her eyes no longer look like they're drowning. Unexpected lessons somewhere between her second sip of tea and the rain easing into a light drizzle. You realize the conversation has shifted. It's no longer just about her sadness. It's about the strange, fragile ways humans connect. She tells you a story about her grandmother who used to say, "Kindness is like bread. It doesn't last forever, so you have to bake it every day." You smile at the metaphor, thinking about how simple and unpolished wisdom often sticks the longest. You share a memory of your own, the time you moved to a new city and spent the first month speaking to no one but the barista at the corner cafe. It felt pathetic back then, but now you see it differently. That barista's "good morning" might have been the thin thread keeping you from unraveling. There's a strange satisfaction in realizing that the help you're giving right now isn't grand or dramatic. You're not rescuing her from a burning building or solving her deepest problems. You're just here, present, listening, and somehow that's enough. Psychologists call this holding space, offering your full attention without judgment, without trying to control the outcome. It's a skill we rarely practice because we're so busy filling silences or offering quick fixes. But right now, the silences feel like part of the conversation. And here's the twist. You thought you were helping her, but somewhere in the middle of her stories, you feel lighter too. The weight you carried into the cafe, the quiet stress of your own life, has eased, replaced by this soft reminder that people still matter to each other. When she thanks you, it's not dramatic. Just 2 words, "Thank you." But you can tell they're heavier than they sound. They land in your chest like a stone, not in a painful way, but in the way that makes you want to keep it there, a reminder of what this morning became. Walking away changed eventually. The tea is gone, the coffee is cold, and the rain outside has thinned into a soft mist. You both stand, sliding on damp jackets, the air between you warmer than when you first met. At the cafe door, she gives you a small smile, the kind that isn't just polite, but real, earned. "I'll be okay," she says, and you believe her. Not because all her problems are solved, but because she's been reminded she isn't invisible. You step outside together, the wet pavement reflecting the muted light of a cloudy Copenhagen afternoon. The streets feel different now. Not brighter, not louder, just softer. You walk a short distance before your paths split. She turns left, you turn right. As you head toward your original destination, You notice the sound of the rain doesn't bother you anymore. It's the same rain, same city, same cold wind, but something in you has shifted. Maybe it's because you proved to yourself that you could act instead of just watch. Or maybe it's because you remembered that connection isn't about fixing people, it's about meeting them where they are, even for a moment.
This day say you recall, small skridt er også skridt. Small steps are still steps.
Today, your step was stopping in the rain for a stranger. Tomorrow, it might be something else. But for now, this is enough. You tuck your hands into your pockets, feeling the echo of her thank you in your chest. And as the mist settles on your skin, it feels less like cold and more like proof you were here, that you didn't just walk past. That's all for today. I will make more videos like this in the future. Please subscribe to see more.